Broadcasting from the Squad Car 37 studios, I'm your host and stunt guitarist, JP. You're tuned in to the inaugural episode of the Squad Car 37 show. The Squad Car 37 show is a series where we meet musicians and creators to discuss tips, tools, and the creative process. Today I'm joined by a talented trifecta of guitar gurus including Andrew Matthews, Nick Ford, and Uncle Sasquatch. The Squad Car 37 show.
Squad Car 37, what's your 20? I'm on the scene.
Welcome, gentlemen. How's everything going?
Excellent.
Hello.
Great.
Well, I'm super excited to chat with all of you guys today, and I figured I'd start with a simple question. What was your first guitar, and what is the current axe that you favor today?
This probably is the case for a lot of guitarists. It's like some fake Strat copy thing, like this blue Strat, and it actually came with some. It's like a $100 Amazon deal with some little tiny 10-watt amp that I actually still have back over here.
It's
I
awesome.
don't know why I still have that. The guitar is actually just gone and torn apart. And my current guitar, I'm kind of tied between these two things. This is my PRS CE24. I got this one in green. It's a bolt-on neck, so it can do stratty, quacky stuff, but humbuckers I can coil tap. And also my SC58. That's basically a vintage 1958 Les Paul, but a bit more modern, real nice sounding.
That's awesome. So you're primarily a PRS guy.
Yes, that's right.
Nick, Steel Lemon.
Yes. So my first guitar was a kind of similar to Andrew's, is kind of a POS Samick. It was a Samick guitar. It was, again, that Strat knockoff. And it had a Floyd Rose, and it was, I remember I played the crap out of that thing. It wasn't amazing or anything, but it was okay. And I remember I whittled off the S and the A and the first part of the M, so it just said Nick on the headstock, So I still have the headstock downstairs, but it's, but yeah, no, these days I kind of play a variety of guitars, but today I have the Epiphone Explorer. It's got EMG X pickups in it, and it's got a new bone nut, and just made some upgrades to it, and I love it. It's great sounding guitar, great rock guitar. So
Super sweet, man. Super sweet. And Uncle.
My first guitar, I guess, was an acoustic, a classical acoustic that my grandpa gave me. I still have it. The thing is like splitting. Well, my first real electric was kind of scaled down Eddie Van Halen Kramer. But it wasn't all striped up. It was just this maroon color. But I had a Floyd Rose, and I think I remember even having some coil splits or taps on it and things like that. And that guitar is gone though. It got stolen within I think the first year or two I had it.
Oh no.
Yeah. So as far as one that I favor for my collection, it's really hard to pick. They all have their purpose, and because they're all in different tunings. Anybody who's watched my videos, I play almost exclusively the Jackson Randy Rhoads models. They're just all different colors. So, but all same specs pretty much.
Outside of your killer playing and your awesome guitars, the thing that caught my eye in your videos was actually what's on your computer monitors on the right and left of you when you're playing. Can you explain for those who haven't already seen your many, many awesome videos, what is on those computer screens?
There's still images on one. It's 3 screens. Maybe you can't usually see the one in the middle, but they're all still images of movie scenes from The Exorcist.
Right, Reagan from The Exorcist. There's one scene where she's already sort of released the green pea, green soup, vomit all over. It just has, as soon as I saw that, you're playing, I was like, okay, I'm following this guy for sure. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, that movie's a childhood favorite of mine. I always tease people about how shit like The Lion King was their favorite growing up. I grew up watching The Exorcist. So
Me too. So did you have someone in your family who was into horror movies, or did you just gravitate towards it? Because interestingly enough, my mom loved scary movies. And so she introduced me to The Exorcist, which to me, that is still the most frightening, terrifying movie I think I've ever seen. The others include The Omen, which was a classic, the first one, and Amityville Horror, and those films are great. What about you?
Maybe my older brother had got me started off on certain ones like the Evil Dead films when I was a kid. My mom had got me into all the old George Romero zombie films. My older brother also loved he grew up with old slasher films, and I hate slasher films. I would kind of sit through those and watch those with him. But my mom would also kind of, from the video store when I was a kid, she would pick up movies for me, and she would bring home Toxic Avenger and old Lloyd Kaufman movies and things like that. So she got me into it, and I kind of just started finding all the old B movies myself after that, and the cornier the cover of the movie looked, I would grab it, from the rack and watch it, and end up being a classic to me.
Isn't it cool how some of those, like Halloween, for example, a lot of those scary theme songs are actually in odd time signatures? Have you guys ever sort of paid attention to that? Yeah. Like, so for example, like that's in like 5/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then
you're right. I never thought about that because The Exorcist has an odd time signature.
It does. Yeah, it's like. It's actually 7/8 and then 8/8. So it's 7/8. The first one. It's like,
hearing it on a guitar like that, it sounds like it could be like some kind of John Petrucci riff.
Totally. Now, one that's not in an odd time signature that I love is, and I think is the scariest soundtrack song for any movie. It's in the first Omen film. It's called Ave Satani. And the main riff, once you get by the sort of chanting, is like. It's like totally metal. Yeah. Anyway, but if you listen to it, there is chanting in Latin. And if you actually transcribe the Latin, dude, it is insane. It's like the Lord's Prayer, but for Satan's son. It's like so satanic that apparently the composer couldn't find people to sing it because they thought it was so satanic. They were like, no, there's no way I'm going to sing it. Everybody here has such an awesome guitar tone. I was curious if we could go around and I could just hear sort of a quick rig rundown of your sort of signal chain. Like, how do you get your tone? What are those key components? Maybe I'll toss it to Andrew first.
Like 90% of the time, I'm actually going straight to my amp, which is this Blue Guitar Amp 1. It's a German-made... It's kind of a pedal-sized amplifier. But yeah, it's mostly like completely analog. It's got like a nano tube for the power stage, the power amp stage right there in the middle. Like it's a 100-watt like Marshall-style amplifier. So I mean, it's perfect for lots of rock stuff. That's kind of my default kind of rock tone right now on the classic channel. It's 4 channels. You got clean, vintage, classic, modern. So I'm on the classic right now. You got clean sound that I don't really use all that much because I'm more of a kind of dirty tone, turn down on the guitar kind of guy. But great clean tone there. Let's see. Do more bluesy stuff with the vintage channel. And of course, you can go full metal, full super metal.
Full Eric Johnson metal. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's not metal.
That's called a Blue Guitar. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Blue, B-L-U, and then guitar, because his name is actually Thomas Blug, BLUG from Germany, and he's an amp designer and killer guitar player. And he designed this amplifier, and also the Blue Box, which is an IR loader thing. Speaker simulator, IR, impulse response thing. So you're hearing that. You're not hearing any physical microphones or anything for the guitar. This is all emulated speaker, and he designed it really well. That's what you're hearing in all of my videos.
That is such a cool tune. I'll definitely check that out. Steel Lemon, how about you?
Yes, well, my sound right now is it's pretty basic. It's just a humble practice amp. It's the Yamaha THR 10X. It's kind of a army green heavy metal, machine, and I kind of go back and forth with basically kind of there's like two Eddie Van Halen kind of sounds. I've got just called like Brown 1 and Brown 2. It's like early Van Halen versus like, I think let's see if I get to that's more the later Van Halen, and then just like a kind of a basic clean sound. I guess I use the bass sound of this for clean, but yeah, it's just like I said, it's just practice tones, and it works well for me just at home or for lessons or for Instagram or whatever. Live's kind of a different story. I'm usually I actually have a Splon modified Marshall head. And I actually lately I've been really digging the Andy Timmons pedal, the AT Plus, the JHS AT Plus, and the last gig I played, I kind of ran the Marshall clean, used that because I liked it so much. It's flexible enough to do all the different things I needed to do. Because that last gig I did, which was a really long time ago, a less rock gig anyway, I did was rock, it was country, it was just a seesaw of metal. But it was kind of a little of everything, so it helped to, have that. And I have a whole bunch of other things too at, ISP Decimator for when I'm doing my prog metal stuff. But like I said, I keep it pretty simple. I'm kind of a plug in and play kind of guy. And usually, like I said, I don't know if I can pull this thing up. There it is there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. It's no tubes. It's just got these cool lights in there. So anyway, like I said, nothing too fancy. And it's just plugged straight into my audio interface right now. So that's it. Et cetera, et cetera.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. Uncle.
My rig is basically what's left over after I left my band some years ago. I never wanted to part with it. I didn't see the point. So let's see if I can get a view of this.
Oh, wow.
The Craig Blue Voodoo cabs with vintage 30s. Marshall JCM 800, completely stock. I'm a one-channel guy. And I love going into the front of the amp with all my stuff. That's usually what my sound is. And it looks like a lot, but as far as like my chain goes, for each patch, it's a lot simpler than it looks because there's certain effects and things that are dropping in and out as I'm changing channels for various cleans with different kind of effects and parameters. Same with the rhythm tones and lead tones, and delays are in and out, and reverbs and things like that. It's all controlled by my Voodoo MIDI foot switch, where I can change channels, and got the wah pedals and whammy pedals and volume pedals. So my basic rhythm tone just comes from just a real simple distortion or overdrive from my rack unit, and then I shape it with my Furman parametric EQ, one of the same ones that Dimebag used. And I love dropping the mids. I mean, not all the way down to infinity, but I love getting that scoop sound up. I know that's pretty blasphemous for some people, especially these days, but I get a lot of comments and DMs of people asking, how do I get my sound? I just tell them, drop your mids. So I go for the James Hetfield, Pantera sound. And so I love the super chunky sound. And I'll do the Dimebag style where I'll use the parametric EQ to drop the mids, but then use a different smaller EQ to bring them back up in the chain. And I always, people even I guess told Dime that's weird that you do that. What's the point? But for some reason, it works. It kind of helps create just a weird balance between the two. So that's what I'll go for on the sounds, and and just keep the gain down. Sometimes it sounds like I have a lot, but I actually only turn the gain up just a little bit to just below, I guess, what would be like 50%. Try to keep things tight and not too saturated. So.
Wow, you definitely have a cool sound, and I'm full on with the scoop in the mids, right? That was like the whole mezza boogie sort of late 80s, 90s, early 90s sort of sound, and it's back, and then people just don't know how to get it anymore, and it's really kind of simple. However, I haven't heard about doing the sort of double EQ where you drop them and then add an EQ afterwards to kind of boost after you've dropped it down. That's a really interesting way to approach it. I'm not even sure why that would work, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is. I just remember reading an article of his guitar tech kind of letting the cat out of the bag on one of his secret hot sauce, and he said that he used the PQ4 to drop the mids around, I think it was like the 1K range, and then he used the Blue MXR 6-band EQ around 500 or 800 and boosted them up to about 6 dB, I think it was. So I kind of do that, and but yeah, it just seems to work somehow. So
Nick, you are you've got a number of students. You went to the Berklee School of Music. You're like into the theory. You're into teaching. Is there something that you're working on now, or that is sort of a popular question or area of focus that your students ask you about that would be helpful to share for the audience?
Yeah, well, there's a thing I'm working on now. A student brought in Sales of Sharon by the Scorpions, and this idea too, and I this kind of branches off into a couple things, but one really, really important idea, which is kind of making things your own. And there's this lick kind of in the middle. The whole intro of Sales of Sharon is this great, amazing guitar playing by Uli John Roth. And there's this lick in the middle. It's kind of like this thing. It's like, let's see. Okay, really cool lick.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, the whole thing is just amazing. You got to check that tune out. But the one thing that really caught my ear, and actually I was thinking about it, and I realized later that I've actually used this lick for inspiration for other things that I already ended up in my music and I already forgot about. But it inspired this lick that there's this thing that goes, which is basically, it's a 4-note kind of thing, but it's really only 2 notes because it's D sharp to E. Here, the higher an octave goes down. So it's like going, you're just doing it separating by octaves, and there's something about that just sounds really cool to me. So that that inspired a whole other lick, which I will share with you guys now.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you. So yeah, it kind of morphed into something else. So basically, the original motif, I changed. Well, first of all, I changed the key because that's the way to make it sound at least a little different. But the original thing was this, right? Second one is I added this, just going the same direction. So, and I just took that through a basic sequence using the same scale that he did in that song, because he does this thing where it's kind of like harmonic minor with an added flat 7. It sounds kind of weird, but he does this thing where so it's like almost like a bebop scale, but like a metal bebop. I don't know if that makes any sense, but but I laid it across a single string and kind of did that, and it's like it becomes this whole other thing. And then of course I never let an idea be so strict that I can't turn it into music. So the basic idea I wanted to share was taking the smallest piece of that. It's kind of something that's in the middle. It's kind of buried in that lick. but it allowed me to kind of like explore a whole other concept. And that's a thing that I'll share with students, both in kind of creating their own music with things, as well as taking small ideas, because I think it's easy to get caught up in like, I got to learn every single mode and every single key, and I got to play giant steps upside down and all that stuff. And oftentimes, if you take the smallest idea and move it around, you can find your own thing. So that is my idea of the week. It's a little preview for the Instagram lick of the week next week, I believe. So
I love it. That's super cool. I learned so much by watching your videos, and that's the trick. Find something that resonates with you and then make it your own. I'm totally about recycling stuff. I'll give you one little thing that I'm working on that I just love, and I saw somebody on Instagram do it, and it's super easy. It's basically when you're bending into a note, then after you've bended to it, then bring it back down and then slide into it. So for example, right? Or yes. Or like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah,
I just love it. It's really easy to do. So there you go. There's my little tip of the week as well. So I'd like to transition into a segment, and then we'll wrap up, called I'm currently calling it non-diatonic interrogation, which roughly means I ask everybody a bunch of really weird questions that have nothing to do with anything. So so here we go. Non-diatonic interrogation. Okay, here's the question. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and who would you take?
Let's see. I think I would go to the UK with my dad, because that's where he's from, and I still haven't been over there. 17 years old. Yes, I'm like half British, so I'd love to just go over there. And
oh, that's very cool. I didn't know that.
My dad showed me around. Yeah.
Awesome. Nick?
I would probably take my wife to Scotland. I guess we've always wanted to go to Scotland, and we've always wanted to go there and reenact Braveheart or something. I don't know, or Highlander or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Highlander fan. The original Highlander film. Oh yeah, yeah,
it's so good.
Uncle, how about you? Where would you go and who would you take?
I'd probably go to Italy just for the food. I want to try real Italian food. Who would I take? Shit, I don't know. Maybe mom, to do something nice for her if I could, something like that.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Speaking of food, next question. Pineapple on a pizza, yes please, or no thanks?
I think we know. I think we know Squatch's answer.
All right, that sounds like a no thanks over on the bottom corner. Andrew and Nick?
I'd try it. I don't even know if I've tried it, but I mean, it doesn't sound bad to me.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's not my favorite, but if it's pizza, I'm probably eating it.
Yeah, I mean, you've
right,
got a bunch of other stuff on there already, so why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a fan, and I like pineapple and green peppers. So those two together, that's kind of a if you're daring, if you want to go that direction. If not, no big deal. No big deal. Okay, this is the last one. This is going to be fun. Describe your spirit animal, but only using your guitar. All right, Uncle, I'm going to toss this one to you first.
Oh, man. Let's see.
So no words, just by playing the guitar, describe your spirit animal.
How about the first two letters of the animal?
CA. Ah, that's a very interesting way to do this. Okay, I didn't think of that. Okay, Nick, you're up.
Tiger.
Yes.
So good. So good. Very creative. All right, Andrew. Yes. Very cool. Very cool. All right, guys. It's been a real pleasure chatting with all of you. Thanks so much for making time to talk guitar and share some tips. And I'll talk to you soon.
All righty.
Thanks, JP.
All right. See you guys. Bye now.
Later.
It's actually working. Andrew, kick it.